I was going to say, I got to butt in now because that's your turn.
Yep.
Now we're going to talk about Target. But I do have a break coming up. But on this Target case, a lot of people are saying, what about the victim there? What about the victim there? Lisa, you're saying this individual wasn't a victim. This individual maybe injected herself into something that he shouldn't have been involved with. I'm doing this delicately out of respect.
Do you want to talk about this now or after the break?
No, go ahead. Start.
Okay. So in law enforcement, there is a standard of probable cause to arrest. And when the cases are sent over to the district attorney's office, the standard raises to beyond a reasonable doubt. And they are two different factors. Additionally, in law enforcement, when law enforcement officers are told things at the scene, they have no choice but to record what the victims, the witnesses say. And people's statements sometimes are from their vantage point. Whether they're credible or not credible is something that sometimes takes time to figure out. And when you have two people that are in a bar fight or who are in an altercation, they have different viewpoints. When people see car accidents, sometimes you get differing viewpoints because people see different things and they respond differently in trauma. So their statements aren't always accurate. Not to say that people are lying, but they're not accurate. When you have the opportunity then to go look at videotapes, and we live in a world of technology. So what happened in this case, in my very humble opinion, is that the Clovis Police Department took statements from people. They believed those people, and that's how the arrests were made. When the investigation was complete and the videotapes were obtained, the videotapes told a different story. And there's another issue in the law that has come with criminal justice reform, and that is that once juveniles are arrested, they may not be interviewed by police until a public defender is appointed and advises them whether or not to speak. So law enforcement, cops on the ground are very hesitant sometimes to talk to juveniles because the law is ever changing. And so I think this was a case where the juvenile side of the story was not told. The Clovis Police Department released a statement that was partially told. It wasn't untruthful. It was incomplete. And I think that the media picked that up. The media didn't really do anything wrong. They told the story, the portion of the story that they know. But the portion of the story that's not told is that this person who was injured, this gentleman who's a paramedic, he was not involved in this situation. He had no business being involved in this situation. He inserted himself into a discussion between Target employees and 4 juveniles. And these 4 juveniles were 2 males and 2 females. They, the way it was presented in the media that this was, 4 thuggish, gangbanger type juveniles who attacked this poor innocent couple in the store before they even could get through the threshold. That's not what happened. The Target individuals and the representatives were talking to these children. There was probably some disrespectful conversations going on between young people, which oftentimes, we see teenagers that are very mouthy. It's a thing that, we all been through with being teenagers ourselves at one point and having teenagers. And this person inserted himself literally into a conflict that he had no business in.
I got to take this break, but I'm getting it now. But I've got a question. We got listeners with questions, and I know where this is going to go. Lisa, hold on. We'll be right back. Lisa Smithcamp is with us on KMJ. Stay put, everybody.
The Ray Appleton Show on News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Getting back to Lisa Smithcamp, Fresno County DA, on this Target case. Now, this is interesting because the cops saw one thing, charged it out one way. You get the video, look at it, and you say, oh, that's not what happened. Can you tell us what happened, and was there a single or a group of aggressors in this case involved in any aspect of it?
So what the cops were told and the statements that they received were, again, perspectives from 2 conflicting parties. Mm-hmm. So bottom line is both of the aggressive people in the situation said it was the other one who started it. And that's oftentimes what we refer to in the world of criminal law as a mutual combat situation. There's never a time when one person instantaneously starts something and, I mean, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes it's difficult to tell who starts it when there's shall we say, aggressive behaviors or conflicting behaviors on both sides. So what happened in this situation is the target management was engaging in conversations that were probably maybe getting a little bit heated. From what I understand and from what I saw on the video, it didn't look like there was any physical problems between the juvenile and the target employee. Mm-hmm. The audio is silent because there's nothing. It's only video. There's no audio on the tape that we have from the target surveillance from the store itself. And what happened was a passerby who was the male paramedic literally involved himself in a situation that was quite honestly none of his concern. And what happened from there is that he stepped into the situation and the physical altercation began. Oh. Now, 100 people who look at the video might say, well, this person started it, and half of the other people would say the other person started it. And it's very difficult to talk about these cases because when you're dealing with juveniles, law enforcement, both police and prosecutors, are restricted by confidentiality of identity of juveniles. And so all I can say about that is that these were 4 kids. They were not 4 gangbangers. They were not 4 thuggish type kids. They appeared, from what I could see, to potentially be 2 couples, 2 males and 2 females. And they were sort of, for lack of a better term, before this other family came in, the paramedic and his family, they were sort of canoodling as they were entering the store. They looked like they were on a double date.
Canoodling?
And I can't think of a better word. And, the way that it was portrayed in the media was that these were 4 thugs, stalking people in the Target parking lot, and, they had some savage attack. During the course of the altercation, which is difficult to, there's a saying that great minds can think alike, but you look at this video and it's really difficult to tell what provoked the explosion because there is no audio to it. If you talk to one side, they say it was the adult. If you talk to the other side, they say it was the juvenile. The wife of the paramedic and the son were in the store.
Oh, boy.
Where he left them to exit the store to go involve himself in this conversation between the target employee. And when the physical altercation started between the paramedic and the juvenile, the one juvenile male, it became a melee. And the young son of the paramedic, as well as another target employee, tried to break it up several times. It went on and on. I think there has been some cell phone video that's circling around on social media. And as the physical altercation ensued, both parties were injured. And at the end, there was a white male adult came along, a good Samaritan, who had to help the paramedic's son stop the fight. And at the end of it, the older Good Samaritan is seen, putting his hand down toward the paramedic in the look where it's kind of sort of telling him to, hey, just calm down, stay down there. The adult male paramedic stands up, and the juvenile is flat out on his belly, face down to the cement lady.
Wow.
So the way that the Clovis Police Department released the information was such that one party was injured and another was not. Now, subsequent to that part of the video, when the police and EMS arrived, apparently the paramedic had some medical issues and was taken to the hospital. I've heard conflicting reports as to whether he is still in ICU Whether he had a fever or not, I don't know. What I know about the medical portion of it, I've only heard on the news also. And for us as prosecutors, the end result of the injury is always relevant to see if there is great bodily injury as a result of a crime. But the fact that whether or not a person is injured to a great extent is not a determining factor in whether a crime was committed at the onset. And so if somebody, just hypothetically, starts a fight and the other party is in lawful self-defense, which in our opinion, this is what happened in this situation.
No, did we lose you?
And
There she
the
is.
aggressive or the initiating party is injured. If there is no crime, there is no accountability for a higher level of injury. Now, while everyone is very sad and praying that this gentleman makes a full recovery, that is not the issue. The issue is that there is no way to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this person was attacked. There's no evidence to show that he was attacked. He inserted himself into this situation. I have been in very close communication with the Clovis Police Department over this, and I am anticipating that they are going to release the video at some point so that the community can see what really happened. And, there has been a lot of social media attacks on me personally, on my office, on the decision that was made. And, I'd like to just take a minute, Ray, for all these social media cowboys and cowgirls out there.
Can you hold on? I got to take another break. Can you stay with us? Are you able to do that? Because I'm making you go way late on this.
I am.
But I want to hear what you have to say to the social media cowboys. I know how that goes. Believe me. Lisa Smithcamp is with us, and we will continue on KMJ.
The second half of the
Hey, back.
The Ray Appleton Show on News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
I have to admit, this is really good stuff with the Fresno County DA, Lisa Smithcamp,
It is really
taking
good
her
stuff.
time while on the road to explain in detail not only this very complicated case of this fight that took place at Target, but also here when Mark was in earlier, Mark Capitan, to talk about the laws in California and this whole thing with the fentanyl charge of, second-degree murder launched against the 24-year-old woman who passed or sold or gave the fentanyl, sold it, must have been a dealer type thing, to this 41-year-old victim that died. So, okay. Now, Lisa, thanks for hanging in. Talk to us about the internet cowboys and cowgirls that are trying to take a punch at you over this whole thing in the Target case.
Yeah, it's understandable that people are upset based on what they know. But when you elect the district attorney, it's hopeful that you have faith that there is responsible people making responsible decisions. And when you have people start to come out and threaten the district attorney or threaten people around, that just distracts from our ability to do our work. And, there's just so many people that are so nasty and they are so, there's people on there calling me saying, well, she must be a Soros DA. Boy, we need to get rid of this liberal DA. So there's you? Yeah, right?
Wow. Wrong person.
Things like that. Right. That shows that, they clearly don't know anything about me. But these decisions are not about Lisa Smithcamp, right? These decisions there were 10 set of eyes on this case before the determination was made to not file these cases. It went all the way up the chain. And sometimes that happens and sometimes it doesn't. This is a very high profile case. This is a man who has some very serious injuries. We also have a minor who was injured. We have 4 kids who went to shop at Target and ended up getting arrested. This was not a good day for anybody. And again, there are no winners in this situation. And so I just, I know that probably a lot of the nasty people who post threatening comments are probably not 580 listeners, but just, it's just a thing to put out there for people. When you threaten a public official, it's not a good day.
No, it's not.
Because even though most of them are done, tongue in cheek, it causes us all a lot of unrest, if you will. Because my investigation.
Obviously, the calls are beginning to break up. There she is. Go ahead.
There's, realistic threat to me or my family or to anyone in the DA's office who makes these decisions. But something to where as a weapon or a weapon to attack people when you really don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, if I may, and then I'm going to let you go. There's an individual who's been waiting on the phone for quite some time, who's a witness to this whole thing. And he's been calling us a couple of times this week saying, get the story right. We had it wrong. We had it wrong because we were reporting it as the Clovis police reported it. We admit that. And Fred, go ahead. I'm glad you waited. You're on the air, Fred. Talk to Lisa.
I appreciate everything she's saying, and she's 100% correct. The only question that I have is why isn't the adult in the situation being charged with the crime? I've been involved in a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of things, and usually an adult has the power, and he has the frame of mind to make that decision to walk away from this situation. He antagonized these children, which are 2 boys and 2 girls, which were treated really bad. They were assaulted. The police officers even had them on the ground, a little girl on the ground. The little boy had some very bad injuries, and not to make it a racial thing or anything, these were white children. So they couldn't say that they were Hispanic, African-American, gang members, anything. There's no excuse for the way they were treated. And like I said, I appreciate everything she's saying because she is 100% correct. Those children should not be charged. The person that should be charged is the quote-unquote victim. And I'm really upset at how people, because of his stature, are taking his side. It doesn't matter what his job is or what he's done in the past. A crime is a crime.
Absolutely.
And these are children.
Yeah, I tend to, again, I don't know about the criminal aspect of it all, but I certainly agree from where you're coming from that, the people who are calling this individual, something other than what it is, probably need to rethink this thing or finally see this video. All of us need to see it. Lisa, respond to Fred.
So, Fred, did you make a statement to the police department?
I am not getting involved in it. Like I said, I just witnessed it, and I have.
Okay, perfect. That's all I wanted to know. I just wanted to know if you were a witness, if you were a secondhand witness, a thirdhand witness, if you heard about it, if you saw it, and part of the problem, and this is no disrespect to you, Fred, because I get it. There's a lot of people that see sometimes and they don't want to get involved. And I've been in the criminal justice, working in criminal justice for 28 years. I get it. I know why people have that feeling. But it's very frustrating because what happened here in this situation is, the Clovis Police Department did exactly what they can do every time, which is the best they can do with the information that they have. And when cops, everything that I talked about that I was able to see from the video, when the officers arrived on scene, they had no benefit of that knowledge. What they arrived on scene to was a melee with numerous people injured, a lot of people screaming, a lot of high emotions, and I think that the Clovis Police Department did the best that they could under the circumstances. Now, was the information that was pushed out about the incident as clear and concise as it could have been? No. Was it premature to the opportunity to obtain the information from Target and have that properly reviewed? No. And so I think there's definitely some improvements that could have been made on the investigative end. But where you're coming from,
to police,
I will go back to, and all I can say is this, is that the Clovis Police Department, as I understand it, is going to release the tape. When the community sees that, I think that they will see that there is a very difficult, it's a very difficult process to see because this is definitely a he said, the emotions were very high. And from the actual videotape, it appears that that one party made an aggressive movement and another party responded very
Okay.
quickly with another aggressive movement.
All right, Fred,
So
thank you.
It's not a case that can be proved beyond a reasonable doubt.
Fred, thank you for holding on. Lisa, I got to ask one more question, then I'll let you go.
Okay.
You know, we keep talking about how young these people were. Is it fair to mention their age? I know they're minors, obviously. We can't mention their name, but about how old are we talking?
15.
Ray, I would rather not disclose that.
Okay,
But
okay.
what I will say is they are under 18.
All right, well, I figured that out. Yeah.
Yes.
I figured that out. And obviously, the adult that Fred was talking about was this individual who works as a paramedic, right? Right.
I understand that is his occupation, yes.
Yeah, okay. Anything else you'd like to say before I finally let you go?
No, I just hope that all the parties, that they physically recover, and because criminal charges are not filed, that doesn't mean that something awful didn't happen. It is very difficult in these types of situations to prove cases in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt. But that doesn't mean that it didn't happen or that any one person was right or any one person was wrong. Because a lot of people in this incident could have been paid in much more effective and appropriate manner.
And still something could happen in civil court. I mean, you never know anymore. You never know.
Well, I would anticipate that there is going to be litigation over this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Lisa,
yeah.
thank you so much. Excellent.
You're most
Excellent.
welcome. Have a great
Superb.
weekend.
You too. Take care. That was just great stuff. Great stuff. A thorough examination of this particular case from practically every point of view available out there. And this is KMJ. So glad we kept her.